Hey, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Yeah. In our last session, let's go with a quick recall of what we have learned in our last session. So in our last session, so here are the commands that we learned in our last session. And when you have a Linux box, and so unlike Windows, you will not be able to see the files and all. So you would be typing some commands to see the files. And first of all, if you want to know where are you, there is a pwd command which will help you in identifying where are you. So let me connect to that killer coda. The killer coda URL has been mentioned in this GitHub link, and this link is there in the page which you are joining. So here it is. And also a couple of points while we were discussing in the yesterday, by the way. So Linux, we are going to use /. Windows used to use /. And Linux prefer the folder names without any spaces or file names without any spaces. And also Linux is a case sensitive operating system where your file names and folder names are case sensitive. And you have to be, you have to be very careful on that particular part. So because you have to be very careful on that particular part because so giving a small space and giving a one capital letter somewhere is always going to break up the things. Okay, that's where it is. Now to start with, by the way, so we are going, so the pwd is going to tell you where are you. Using cd command, you can always go to a particular location. That is about a cd command. Okay. And after that, there is an ls command, which is going to help us finding it out what all the files, okay, which is there in that particular location, files and directories, ls. ls also had certain options, ls-A and ls-L, which will show you a little bit more information we talked about. ls-A. I was surprised that, people did not, no one asked actually that, hey, ls is small a, why are you telling capital A? And again, the answer is capital A capital A is to show the hidden files, whereas small a is to show the hidden files plus some extra information. Okay. So not only the hidden files. So we want only the hidden files. So that's where it's capital A. Okay. Like I have mentioned, by the way, when you're actually using option, maybe if you are using it so far, have been, so using it. So maybe wrote it somewhere, or, so maybe you got used to that way. It's time to rethink like what is the option that you're using. You have to use it consciously. Okay. Don't try to just blindly go and use it. Okay. So you need to be a bit different there. That's what we talked about. And next is how do you create some files is basically by using a touch command and sample.txt. And we talked about Linux does not have file extensions. Now here the whole file name is a .txt, right? So you can create some files and create a directory by using mkdir, right? And you can actually remove some files by using rm command. Okay, so rm anaconda chaos.cfg, it always asks for yes or no. And if you want to don't give that, or you don't want that particular prompt, -f is what you can use. Rm command -f demo, if you give, it will not delete it, by the way. You have to give -r option also while you are actually removing a directory. Okay. Now cp command is there. So when you are actually copying a directory, so cp-r demo to maybe /tmp, you had to give -r option even for cp, or else you are just copying a file, something to /tmp. So you don't have to give any -r option. And mv command, you can move the file from one location to another location and also help you in renaming the file as well. If you have not given any location, if you are given a file name itself, okay, it is going to rename. Now let's say sample.txt as sample.txt. Now I did not give any location here on the right side. and giving the file name, and so it has been renamed as this. So this is what we talked about and in yesterday's session. Okay, let's move on with the next other things that what we have in next other commands what we have in basics today. And also a very important thing, by the way, I mentioned here, if you want to become a professional of on the command line, okay, you need to know about shortcuts. Windows also, you may be uh, Windows also you may be um, I mean, using the shortcuts, right? So rather than always right click copy, you may be using Control C, right? So what it happens, what it helps is it makes your work mid faster in a more professional way, right? So that's where even in the command line also you have shortcuts, okay, which is essential for you to become a master on the command line. And that's where I have provided one link, this official Red Hat link for some shortcuts, at least the top 10 shortcuts. I would suggest you to every one of you go through this, okay, and ensure you practice them every day while you do your work, okay. That is very important, and it is going to help you, by the way. Next, we're going to talk about is an editor, okay. When you actually come to the Linux boxes, we need to edit some configurations because I'm going to deploy my application inside the Linux box, and that application requires some configurations. We'll have some configurations. Every software will have some configurations. Okay, so that means I might come here and I might need to okay, so edit some configurations in the server, by the way. So that's where, in order to do that, we require an editor. We need an editor to edit a file, by the way, right? In Windows, how do you do that? In Windows, you also have an editor only, right? So you'll be going with a notepad or a WordPad, which is out there, and you're going to edit the file, right? So here also you have an editor. And when it comes to the Linux editors, there are many editors, by the way. And so there are like VA editor, Nano editor, Gedit, Emacs, variety of softwares are there, by the way. You can install any software and use that, okay? However, out of all this particular one, by the way, so VI is very powerful editor and it comes with more options, and it is native, by the way. That means like it mostly comes with the Linux operating systems. You know to additionally you know to install it, by the way. Okay, it comes out of box most of the time. That's where. So VI is our choice, by the way. So because it is two couple of reasons, it is very powerful editor than any other editor. Okay, first thing. And second thing is it comes by default. Okay, these are the things that, and it has many options also, okay, by the way. So that's where we editor is the one, but we don't require all those options. There are reasons that why we don't need all those particular options, by the way, okay, or why we don't really require to learn much of the editor, because ideally in the organization we're going to work on the local desktop. We don't actually directly go to the server and do the modifications on the server, by the way. So that means, so there is a process involved, by the way. So that means end of the day you have to write the code in your desktop and put that particular code somewhere, automation, and servers will pick up that particular automation. You will not go and directly modify that. So that's where you don't to put too much time around spending about the options of editor, because end of the day you will not do that. And especially in the modern world today, okay, you will never log into the machines and do the modifications. Okay, so it's all going to be through automation, and your role foundation is actually automation, and going and doing it manually doesn't make sense. But whenever you find some time, okay, so I would suggest you one fine day, you can think about, okay, spend a couple of hours and learn some editor options. Like generally, like now you've been using editor for some days, and after that, when you start looking for options, find out is there any option that is useful to you. Okay, but at this point of time, you don't really require to go with each and every option available on the editor. Okay, and so we are going to talk about two scenarios in the editor, by the way. So we can edit the file and save the changes, and maybe we edit the file, but we don't want to save the changes, right? Two scenarios, and we'll try to go with them. And how do you do that? So here is the two options. VI editor, how do you save the file? VI editor, how do you make the modifications, but you realize, no, I don't want to save the changes, I'll come out. Okay, these are the two scenarios. How do you do that is, so you have to give the VI and the file name. Okay, so VI and um, like let's say node.txt. Okay, something like that. And again, the extensions I'm giving only for my comfort to understand that's a text file. Okay, so vi node.txt, and you open it, is actually going to open a new file because this file doesn't exist. Or else, okay, once again, so if I just go with the any other file which is already there, let's say original ks.cfg, the file is already there, it will open the content in that particular file already. Okay, now if you open a file and while if the file is not there, it will create a file. If the file is already there, it is going to load the content on that particular file, right? And that's where, so vi node.txt, I opened it. It's a new file. Now what I'm telling is press insert or I character, anything is fine. If you have an in your keyboard, you'll find out a insert button. If that button is not there for some of the keyboards, you can also press a I character. Both are same. Okay, impact is going to be same. So now you press insert. At the down, you will see you're in an insert mode, by the way. So there are certain modes in the editor. Now previously you're in, when you open the file, you're in escape mode. Now you're actually entered into the insert mode. Windows also same thing. Okay, let me show you that. So when you open the notepad, now you can see this, if I go here, if I give, sorry, here all. So here, I'm pressing Alt F. I'm in an Alt mode now. Okay. Alt F if I give, so it is giving me the drop down list, right? If I give Alt E, it gives me these options. Okay. Alt F if I give, this is giving these options, right? It's an Alt mode. All right. So the same way, so this editor also is actually having some mode, by the way. So now you are in insert mode. Now, when you are in insert mode, now you can go ahead and do the modifications, whatever you want. You want to add some content, you can type it. When you're in insert mode only, you can do that. Okay. Or you want to copy some content from your Windows box and paste there, any content. I'm pressing Control C and I'm going here, right click, paste. No, not. Paste, copy, paste. Now I can paste it. Now anything, you can go to the internet, and if you have text, by the way, any text, you can go ahead and modify that, by the way. So any text doesn't really matter. For an example, any text I'm to say. So like, let's say this something. Okay, anything does not really matter. You have it, you can paste it. Or else here, Control V, you can use it. That's fine. In this UI, web UI, it works. Maybe later we use some terminals, so that time we'll talk about how to paste it, by the way. That's fine. But you can always copy paste and your job is done. And you can always modify. Now let's say here VI, I would like to give capital letters. I will modify it like this. See, I can always go and press up arrows, down arrows. I can move wherever I want, page up, page down. All these are possible. Like however you typically do it in Windows, you can always go up and down. Maybe the only thing you don't see is scroll bar. So this scroll bar in Windows you will see, right? But that's the only thing you might miss it here. Okay, it's almost like up arrows, down arrows. You can always go and do that. Okay, so there are such options and all is there, but like I mentioned, I don't want you to go with many of these particular things because later the things will change, by the way. Okay, so such we can do outside of the editor also, by the way. Yeah, again, coming to the line. So you simply, whatever the changes you want to do, you do the changes. VI, file, press insert, RI, and you make the changes. I'm done with the changes. Now what I'm going to do again is, if you want to save this, then press escape. I'm pressing escape. I press the escape. You see this, if you observe, the insert mode is gone. Okay, now you press a colon. That means you enter into a colon mode again. Now you see this colon. Here down you will see a colon. You press WQ, write and quit. Okay, write means write to the disk. Okay, that is a context. So WQ is nothing but save and quit. WQ. So now this file is actually having some content. So I'm just giving, I did not made any modifications. I pressed escape, colon Q, enter, I'll quit it. Now, for example, if you make some changes and you don't want them, then colon exclamatory you give, that's it. Those changes will not make it. Now I made some lot of dummy content. Okay. I don't want to save this and escape, colon Q, exclamatory, enter. Now that content did not save. Now I open this file again. You see this again the same. Okay, it does not save it. So these are the two simple options I wanted to tell you on the editor. You start practicing this, and this much is more than enough for now, at least. And whenever you have some time, I would suggest you to, okay, take one day, a couple of hours. Okay, not immediately also, maybe after the training also, or during the training someday, you just open, okay, what are the general VA editor options, something like that. Maybe you start reading it out, and if it is really useful, start following it. Otherwise, I don't feel 90% you don't see any other options which is needed, right? So that is how you would say you'll be having it. And that's all about in the VI editor. Okay, once again, let me try to do the changes. So VI node.txt, and you come here and you press insert button, and you want to add some content. You add some content, you make the changes. After that, you press escape. I'm pressing escape, and you press colon. I'm pressing colon, and pressing WQ to save, pressing WQ and enter. That's it. It's done. So this is about the editor and its options, that what we wanted to discuss. Clear? Any questions? All right. Cool. So the next one, which we are going to do here is now the same file content only. In the content, by the way, so now rather than if I want to see the node.txt file content, I've been opening an editor and seeing it. I don't want it, colon Q, enter, and I'm coming out, by the way. So rather than that, you don't need to open an editor. You can directly see it on the command line. So now you can see that node.txt. So cat is a command that will help you in it's checking the file content, by the way. Okay, so checking the file content. So you have a cat command directly. So cat does more, but we are looking only to an extent of um, seeing the content. We don't want more. So cat can also add some content to the file, but we use editor for that, not the cat command. Okay, so cat, I want to see the content. That's it. So cat and the file name, you see the content. And I'll pick up a file here, or maybe there's also an option called as, there's also, one second. So cat, okay. So cat, there is an option called as cat-n node.txt. Now you can see this, you are going to get a line numbers also if you want. Sometimes it is useful. Okay, this is about cat command. And in many situations, okay, and the number of lines of the file is going to be more and more. Number of files is going to be more and more. I'll just try to take a file called as etc password. Now you can get, I think the file is actually still in the screen only, but actually you have some files like maybe like, what is a big file? I can pick it up, dnf.log, something like that. If I hit enter, you see that, so much number of lines came in. All right. So now just imagine yourself that, you're getting many lines from a file, and you want to get, and you wanted to get only certain lines out of that, not all the lines. Then how do you deal with that? Okay. So that is where, we are going to deal with some more filter commands here. So cat is going to show you all the lines, but whereas I want some filter commands, these are quite often useful, by the way. And so head of the same file, etc password, then what you're going to get is you're going to get the top 10 lines of the file. If you want to get the top 10 lines of the file, then you use head command. And whereas if you want some custom number of lines, default is 10 number. Let's say I want 5 lines only, I'll give n5. Okay. And the next one is the same thing. Tail is there. So tail is going to give you the last 10 lines. And whereas the tail hyphen n3 is going to give you the last 3 lines of the file. Okay. That's about head and tail commands. Now these two are based on the line numbers. If you want to see a top of the file, end of the file. But however, I wanted to see some other ode in a file, and I wanted to search a word grep root from a file called as etc password. So this is just one of the system file. That's it. Don't worry. So grep root from some slash etc password, you get it. Now get login from etc. You get many lines. Okay. So you can search a word and you get those particular lines. You search a word and you get those particular lines. All right. So that's about a grep command. And the last command which you have is awk command, which is a very good command. And if you want to get this particular file in a column-based filter, okay. Now this file is actually having columns, cat, cat, what do we say? Cat slash etc password. Now it's properly columned actually. Assume that you are writing a table. This is a table. Maybe it is not coming in a tabular format. That's it. That's the only difference. There's a proper table actually, because there's a first column, colon, second column, third column, colon, fourth column, colon. Everything is actually colon, okay, delimited. This file is colon delimited. Sometimes you'll find a comma separated file. Okay, like that you will be having. Now, if you have such content, by the way, you want to get a column wise, then you can use awk command. Okay. So now in awk command here, so what we're actually doing here is, if you're saying -f, what is the delimiter? What is the field separator? We call it up. Like this is the first field, first column is the second field, second column. I mean, field or column both are fine. And what is delimiting between them? Colon symbol. I'm giving colon symbol. After that, in single quotes, print and all is the syntax. And $1 is the first column you're asking for. First column. And enter. So you're going to get the first column. Okay. You want to get a third column? You can just give number 3. This is the third column. All right. So this is how we are going to get the column-based filter by using column-based filtering by using awk command. You want 2 columns also is possible. $1, comma, dollar. You can give $1 space, $3 is also fine actually. Comma is also not. Space is not giving any space, I think. Okay, it will be comma. Comma is needed. So comma, you give it. So you're getting first column, colon, second column. So this is how you're going to do the filter of the content. And these are quite often when you actually deal with a file and see the content and all. So it is going to be a useful one. Okay. So these commands especially will be useful when we actually have a project and when we start writing automation on the project using shell scripting. These commands are really helpful. Okay. So that's about these commands. Now let's to revise, by the way. So cat is a command that gives you all the content. Okay. Now I don't want all the content. I just want top 2 lines. Head -n2 of /etc password, you get 2 lines. And whereas you give the top 2 lines and you get a tail, you get the last 2 lines. Tail has one more option. We'll talk about that bit later, which is a very useful option again. And tail this one. And the next is I want only to search a word and I want to get those particular lines. So then grab a word from that particular file. In this. Now AWK is about column-based filtering. Okay, so AWK-F, comma, okay. Then here print $1 and /etc password. Sorry, not comma, colon. Okay, so colon, you are getting this. Now, even if I have like, let's say some data, like let's say students.txt, for an example, students.txt, I'm having name as a heading. Okay, so name, email, phone, comma phone. So this is a comma separated file I'm writing. Name is like, let's say John, and the email is john@gmail.com, 919191, something, that's okay. And let's say Steve, comma, steve@yahoo.com, comma, 818181. Okay, something like this. If I have like this is a comma separated file. Now cat students.txt file. Now, if I have let's assume it's a big file, but I'm looking only for the mobile numbers. Now, let's say I want to send a message to all of these people. Now I need their mobile numbers. So what I'm going to do is -f, comma, this is a comma separated file. And I'm going to ask print $3 because is the first one, email is the second one, phone is the third one. And what is the file name? Students.txt. I get the mobile numbers only. I'll do whatever the thing I want. All right. So this is how we are going to have the column-based filtering by using AWK command. And these are the filters, these are the filter commands we generally call it content filters. Okay. Any questions?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I'm able to.
Yeah, in the first part, awk -f, you put colon, then you put the print $1 and then the file name. But right now you put awk -f, comma. Why the comma here, not the colon?
Because previous file is actually having colon as a separator. Now this file is having comma as a separator.
How would you know if without opening the file,
You
if
will
it's a
not.
colon or comma?
You
We
will
have
not.
to open the file to check first, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
My question is like, generally we will not just print the results, right? We will be writing into a file.
We'll see
So,
that.
okay.
Those will come as part of scripting.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Raghu. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Raghu, like, can we do the grep inside the file actually? Because like in code, it doesn't we have like hundreds of code in a Python script. Then can we search for a single syntax kind of thing?
Sorry, can you come again if you don't mind?
Let's assume we have a Python script which has like hundreds of lines of code, but I'm searching for a single line of code. Rather than traversing through the file, can we use a grep inside? Is there like something like grep mode inside the VA?
Which mode?
Like you said, we have these modes, right? Like colon mode and insert mode in VI editor.
What is other mode?
Uh, colon mode, you said, right? Escape mode and these kinds.
I told yes, that's fine. But you are asking some other mode, right?
Yeah, I'm asking like, is there anything like a grep kind of thing where what we can do and search for a single line rather than traversing the whole file?
No, wait. Go slow. So what is that mode? grep.
No, I'm asking you actually. Like, is this something like grep? Grep. Sorry, grep. I spelled it wrong.
No, that word I'm not getting because That word.
grep. You said right. We can use grep
Oh,
to find
grep.
the.
Okay, it's not grep. Okay, it's grep.
Sorry, yeah, grep. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, can use grep inside a VI editor so that I can find a certain syntax or certain line of code.
You can do that. Yes. So editor has every option. Like I'm saying, like, so you don't really require them kind of a thing. But yes, you can do.
Okay.
And anyhow, we'll be talking about one more editor, by the way. Okay, which is called as SCD editor when we talk about shell scripting. Okay. Now just imagine we're talking about automation, right? So you will not never log into the server manually and do the modifications. Okay.
Right.
Now but still you need to modify the files, right?
Right.
So that's where one more editor will come. During that editor, we talk about, so how to search and modify that line. Okay. How do you search and delete that line? How to search a word and delete that word? Certain more patterns will come as an editor perspective once again in another editor. That is the most required editor than this for your automation purpose. So that time we'll talk about those options here.
Sure.
Raghu, while using the AWK command, is it limited to only that command which has like the similar content, like which can be displayed only in column wise like that? Like now, if we take the student.txt, so we have in each row we have a content like name, Gmail ID, and phone number. But what if in the other row there is just a name and number? It won't work in that cases, right? Or will it?
No, whenever you have data will always be in a proper format only. Okay. For an example, some student doesn't have like, let's say, doesn't have an email. At least that field is empty. And now like this, if you just try to do that, so you still get that particular number, right?
Okay. Again, there was this file which you created while using VI editor. So in that case, the content is not same, so it won't work in that case, right?
Content is saved, right?
Not this one, not student.txt, but vi.input.txt, I believe. You created like a different file.
Yeah, node.txt.
Yeah. So in this case, the content is not similar. It's just a random bunch of words. So here we cannot use the AWK command, right? Or can we?
Of course, your content is, if your content is columnized and you want a particular column, then only you can do that, right? Even it applies in Windows also. Now you open a Word document, you can't actually get a column-based filtering, but you open a Excel sheet, you can copy a column.
Okay,
right?
got it. Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Is there any command to clear the page without going into gap?
Clear, sorry?
Is there any command to clear the page, what we do in now?
Yeah. So before starting of the session, I was mentioning there is a shortcuts, by the way. Okay, so start learning these particular shortcuts and you'll come to know about it. There's no need to execute a command itself. You have a shortcut available. Control L is the option. You can directly do that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not able to hear you. How do I pronounce you? Tauzi or Tauzi. You need to unmute and talk.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to ask if this is any version of Linux, or I say you are using Ubuntu, so we can use same command on any version of Linux.
Yeah, so these basic commands, whatever we talked so far, may be same, but I'll not say 100% same, but maybe same. Okay, so if you just understand the little bit of history of Linux, by the way, how it came
Yeah.
into picture. So there's an operating system called as Unix, by the way, which was running and very well. And after that, what happened is, so this Unix is very costly, and it is like, it is like a proprietary software. And there is a person who is called as Richard Stallman. Okay, so he's a software engineer, and Richard Stallman. So he thought like, so it should not be like that. And he started the community. The first community of the IT industry that we know is GNU. And he started this particular community. And, so he started making things against Unix, by the way. The GNU stands for GNU, not Unix. Okay. So he started a movement saying that, we shouldn't use Unix. And that's where this GNU community started making a software, which is something like, Unix, by the way. They didn't named anything. So they're making something like Unix, but they couldn't succeed on one area, which to deal with a software which can run the hardware. So there is another person who came into picture, which is called as Linus Torvalds. Okay, he invented a software which is actually called as Unix, and also we call it as kernel. And so these guys came into picture. Now these guys actually formed a community, and they started giving something called as GNU Linux. Okay, now whatever the most of the Linux we use today is GNU Linux. Now these guys use GNU Linux. Now after giving the GNU Linux, the base things, by the way, by the community, and base kernel from this one, now the people will come in here and take these particular things. Now let's say a Red Hat comes here and take the basic of these particular things, and taken those particular things. It's already done in history, right? So now Ubuntu comes here and taken those things, and blah blah, other people also come and taken this.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so now at that time, whenever that they had taken, so these most of the commands actually came from Unix, by the way. That means this not only work in Red Hat Ubuntu, and even works in the Unix machine. That means if I open my Mac terminal also, and my Mac OS, this is my Mac OS, and here also it will work, by the way. Okay, so the same commands, ls command will work, cat command will work. Okay, like this. Okay, the commands will work even here also, right? So that was the history. That's why don't look in like, so just by going with the name, maybe it doesn't okay, so it doesn't means it is same, by the way. So Red Hat might have done some modification to the ls, they might have done something to the cat. Okay, but still the operation is same. Okay, so things like that. So that's where maybe same, but going forward, actually we talk native to the Red Hat. That's where the things will not be same, by the way. Yeah, that's the answer.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
So question is, how can we do filter for the multi columns? Let's say you are doing filtering only for one column, right?
If you don't mind, can you be a bit louder? Voices.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So how can you do the filter for the multi-column? Just you are doing for the filtering only one column, right? Let's say you are doing for mobile only in case if you have one filter with mobile and name.
Yeah, we can do that. So you can see this. I already mentioned. So $1 comma
No,
dollar.
it's print, not, no, I'm asking about filter, not grep. I mean, asking about grep.
Okay, so grep is about the whole line, you will get it. AWK, you get whole column. You're saying that, you want an operation in such a way that where the name is Rama and I want his mobile number.
Exactly. Correct.
Yeah, you can do that. So maybe after one more topic when we talk about, you will understand.
And one more question is is a case sensitive filter?
Linux is always case sensitive.
So here also filter
Everywhere.
wise.
Not here, everywhere.
Okay.
Hi Raghu. So,
Yeah.
able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to.
Hello.
I'm able to hear you.
Hello.
Hmm.
I'm not able to hear the voice. Okay. So my question is, can we apply the multiple filters under AWK command? Like currently you applied the filter with colon, comma, right? Can we use the multiple filters? Like for example, if you have
You
uh,
can,
different separators in different lines,
yeah, you can.
is that possible?
So I have comma as one delimiter and at the rate is another delimiter. So I'm giving like, let's say at the rate symbol is also there at the rate gmail.com. So now by using that, this is the outcome. You can do that. I'm not sure whether you're able to hear me, but you can use it. All right. Any other questions? Cool. So there is one more video, by the way. So whenever you find some time, at least try to go with this. And this is something which is needed. Maybe you want to become using these, commands in more, I mean, in a like, so more and more scalable way, I would say, like, so high scale usability. So then eventually you need to, okay, so know some of the regular expressions. So for an example, I wanted to get the number, I want to get the phone numbers for an example. I mean, to say like, or maybe I want grep, by the way. So I want to get gmail.com for an example. From, I don't know whether I can achieve an example by telling this. Maybe I'll pick it up another file, .txt. I want only the lines starting with capital T, something like that. Okay. So now grep put, if I just give, okay. So grep put T from, okay, not.txt. I'm not sure any other T's. You don't have any other T's. That's okay. Or else maybe if I give capital H, at least now I got two lines, by the way. But however, now I want only the line starting with H, for an example. Okay. So then these, whatever the things which is mentioned over here in this particular video is going to help you. So you can get more, okay, more and more. Now I'm using a cap symbol here. Now what is this cap symbol and all? I don't want it to explain, but I wanted to give you a scenario. Okay, show you a scenario that things like that will evolve, by the way, while you start doing the things in detail. Okay, that's where I've given something over here. Okay, so you go through that, by the way, whenever you find some time. All right. So yeah, these are really helpful in case like, while you're needed, maybe on the day one, it is not needed while you are learning the things going on. So these options will help you in grabbing certain things, by the way. And it's a very small and good one only. You don't, okay. So easy to understand. That's fine. So that's about something about the, so some expressions also you can use it while searching the filtering the content. That's how you can do that. And that's where the next one will come into things, which is a very important one in your job, by the way, which is to deal with some of the browser on the command line. Okay, you deal with an application which is running on the server. Now you need to know about from the command line, how do you access it? Okay, sometimes you need to download something from somewhere. Now I want to download the software which is given by the developer. I need to get it and keep it in my system. Now they are providing in a URL. Maybe I want to download a software, they're giving in a URL. How do I download? So it's all you do it on the browser side, right? Now so far whatever we talked about, I was talking in the Windows machine context, by the way. So in Windows, like let's say for an example, if you don't have a internet, by the way, what do? You deal with files, content, and things like that. But if you have an internet, you can browse and you can download and you can do that. No entertainment, okay? These are servers, no entertainment. And that is where we are also, okay, going to get onto the command line and start looking into this. But This is a very important command, what we are going to learn, which at least on a day of a DevOps engineer, you end up executing this command, that's for sure. Okay. That means you didn't execute a call command, means you didn't work really. To that extent it is. The call is very CURL, we call it up. Command line URL, CURL. This is the most useful and powerful command on the command line. So to browse and as well as download, what your browser will do, you can browse a website and as well as you can download the content. So now the curl does both the things here as well. Your editor will browse the content plus download the content as well, right? Now, I'm not sure you people are aware of a very old history of Windows. By the way, maybe if you go 2 decades back, maybe let's say early 2000s, the Windows operating systems we used to have is, or even before 2000s, or around 2000, we used to have a Windows 97 operating system. I'm not sure how many of you might have seen that. So Windows 97 used to be there, like Windows 8 and 10 now you see it. So the back in days, there is a Windows 97 is there. Okay, used to be there. So now in this particular operating system, there used to be an Internet Explorer, by the way. So there used to be some Explorer. Okay, that Explorer did not had a capability of downloading the software. Okay, that doesn't had a capability of downloading the software. It's a very basic one. You see this. This is Internet Central. Internet Explorer used to be there. That's a very basic one, which we use. We did not had a so chance to get a downloaded software. So that's where downloads. We used to use another softwares. Okay. Now that's where like even you take a Android evolution. Maybe let's go a decade back. In decade back, early 2010, Android phones doesn't have a feature of taking a screenshot. I'm not sure how many of you know or not, right? Android phones doesn't had a feature of taking a screenshots itself. Now those used to come as a third-party softwares from Play Store. You install them, and after that, you take a screenshots. But today it's an inbuilt feature, right? Something like that. So in Linux also maybe you have utilities to browse and utilities to download separately, by the way. But curl does both the things. While it does both the things, now other softwares you need to install. But usually I'm stressing this particular point because I usually hear a question from people who is aware of Linux. Why don't you use wget? So wget is only a downloader. It doesn't be able to browse, by the way. Now curl is actually downloading and as well as browsing. Why I need to go for a third-party command? And wget won't come with a default operating system unless until you install it. I'm not sure I installed here. So yeah, it is there here, but this command won't comes by default. You need to basic operating systems. You will not have this command. You need to install it exclusively. So that is where it is. That's where it is. Okay, not a preferred one. Okay, you can use a curl command directly. I think enough of the introduction. Let's get on to the the URL, then probably curl, like for an example, I have a google.com here and enter. Now I see the google.com content. And really this is the content of google.com. Okay, so you view google.com, you don't get this content actually from the server, by the way. This is not the content which you are getting from the server. The content you are getting it from the server is, you open a page source. This is the content you are receiving from the server. But whereas your browser, okay, is actually converting this into this presentable format, the HTML. So here browser is the presenter of that particular content. The actual content you are getting it, the server is providing to this browser to this system is this content. Okay, that's where in the curl command you're seeing is basically this one, and we don't want that fancy UIs and all. So from this content also you can know about it. But whereas if the content you are trying to get is maybe a readable content, you'll read the content. Okay, for an example, we are having a GitHub page. Okay, now if I go and get the source of this particular page is a readable content over here. If I go to the raw, this is a readme content. So now I can take this browse. This is actually the URL which is holding the content. Now if I go and give call of this guy, I can see this and is a readable content. Okay, this is the actual content, and whereas the browser is actually masking and giving in a tabular format. Okay. This is how it is. So the curl. Now, when you have an URL to download the software, by the way, so for an example, you can go to any web page and give a download of them. So for an example, I will go to a famous software called as, I'm not sure they'll provide it, a Jenkins.io. There's a famous software which we know, and you can just click on download. Okay. Now what they will tell is they will provide some URL to somewhere to download. So just click on maybe past releases I'm giving. They're providing something. Click on this. Now they're providing a URL, right click, copy link address. Now you go to the server and you can give curl. Now you want to save this file. Now I want to save the file as curl, the file name which is provided by the URL itself, then capital O. Windows also it is same thing, by the way. Now if I click on this, it will download the file in the same file name. You see this jenkins.var, but I don't want that particular file name. So what I can do, right click, save link as, it is going to ask you Jenkins. No, I want as XYZ and click on save. And the file is actually getting saved as xyz.var. Okay, this file stored as xyz.var, by the way here. All right, so the same way, now the curl command also, if you give capital O, it is going to store the same file name, whatever it is coming in. Okay, whereas you want a custom file name, you don't want that. You want a custom file name, then you can give -o, like let's say new.var file, enter. Okay, so this is the one. But if you see here, the file actually which is downloaded here is 85 MB of the file. Now if I give ls-l here, so the jenkins.var and new.var file is just 0-byte file. That means it's an empty file. It's never downloaded, by the way. Why? Because when you click on that URL, is actually going to take you to another URL, by the way. This guy is actually taking to another URL. For an example here, I have one more URL here. So you can, okay, this is the URL for an example. So curl-o, I'm giving this. So you can see this guy is actually try to download it. Okay, it doesn't have any, I mean, 0 size, by the way. This is the actual content. I think this is showing in bytes. You can also know about one more option, -h, which is a human readable format. So you can get it in 2.1 MB. By the way. Okay, this is fine. But why these guys are not coming? Because this guy, whatever the URL you have it here, this URL is a direct, okay, direct URL of the content, by the way. But whereas here, when you actually click on this one, I think this is not the direct URL of that. And when you click on this, and let me go to the history. So it's actually going to, not history, downloads. Now you can see this, it is actually downloading it from some other place. You see this mirrors.tuna.something edu.cn, something from China is actually trying to download. Okay, so that means is actually taking you to some other location. Your browser is going there and downloading it from there. But a curl is not going there unless until you ask to it and go for it. Okay, so for an example, now curl, now you can ask the curl saying that, hey, okay, if this guy is actually taking you to another location, please follow. So curl-l is nothing but follow to there. So now if I just give enter, now this is being followed to another URL, and now it is downloaded ls-lh. You can see that it is around 86 MB. Okay, so curl-l is one of the widely used option while you browse it. So if you are being taken to some other place, you will follow to that particular new place by using capital L. And capital O, you're going to download the content in the same file name. And whereas small o, you can go with the giving a custom file name. And if you want to just browse it and you want to see the content, to give -o, capital O, or small o, you can directly browse the browser. You can see that, but it should be a readable content. You can't read the content of a WAR file, right? It doesn't make sense. Okay. So it should be a readable content, like previously I have shown some text of Google, or maybe whatever the GitHub link I have shown. Okay, this one is a readable content, you can read it. So that is what you have in the curl command. Clear? Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
In ls minus l minus h, you put that separately, but in the lower one, you put ls minus 1h.
Yeah. Both are
LH.
same.
What? It's okay. You can join it.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey Raghu.
Yeah.
So when you showed the Git website, right, about that README file,
Mhm.
so can you please go there and show me? So what exactly you showed? How you showed? So is it like you opened a notepad file there, or how can I know that it's a read-only thing here?
I did not got it complete context of your
Okay.
question.
So now you clicked on raw, right?
Right. This is the actual content.
It's the actual content. Okay, with the
This
links.
is not the actual content, right? So this has these all buttons, these all blah 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 blah.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
raw is now I'm looking for this content. Or if you're looking for this content, this is the URL, right? So you have so many buttons here and all.
Okay.
I'm not looking for that. I'm looking only for this. So that means this is the actual place where you are holding the content, and this is the URL.
Okay, maybe Git is maybe customized. Maybe the website is customized to show you this content differently. So, I mean, like a more readable way, like with all those blue colors and hypertext URLs.
This is
And
a UI, by the way. That's what they are taking. This raw content is actual
okay.
content, by the way, right?
Okay.
Now, when you store the content, you don't tell that, give it in a blue color or something, right? So you don't give these lines and all. You don't tell, like, usually, right?
Okay.
It's a raw content. Now, when
Okay.
you actually, presented by the browser, so then it will detect all those things and it will show it. Correct.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So now if you just try to call this particular one, so what will happen is it will show so many junk content along with this content again. So call, maybe I'll give this. So you see this is all many things you are getting. So here also you have my content, by the way. So you can see this somewhere, AWS sign up video. You can see something killer coda. Somewhere you'll
Okay.
see YouTube, all these things, right? Now that's what I was telling. So this becomes a HTML format. It is not the one I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, all right. Now, the next one which we have here is when you try to download some software. So sometimes you'll see them as a zip files or tar files. Okay, so you try to download some software and they'll tell you. I mean, they'll give you in that particular format. So for an example, in our roadmap.sh website, by the way, in our syllabus, some of the tools that they provide as in a format of zip file. For an example. To pick it up, by the way, let's say you take Prometheus as an example here. Prometheus. Now let's say I'll go to the prometheus.io website. Okay, this is the website. I go to the download. I want to download this software. Now, what is the format they are providing is providing this particular one. So copy link address. Now what I'm going to do, so I already mentioned curl -l. I think my session is ending in 2 minutes only. What I'll do is I'll try to refresh this guy. So they are providing that in a .tar format. Okay. So tar is a native compression method from Linux or Unix world, by the way. So Unix and Linux world. So the tar is a native compression method or archive method which you have. So that means like a zip file, simple zip file. Okay. Now if you want to just try to download that, so curl -l -capital O, and I'm giving that, let it download in its. Okay. Let it download. I'm downloading something, which is fine. Do ls. Now you got a Prometheus one. So that is a tar, by the way. But after that, any compression it will be, doesn't really matter. So, but it should be a tar. If it is a tar, now I need to extract this, by the way. Okay. And a simple extraction method you have is by using a tar command again, tar-x, x for extract. And I'm giving the file name. What is the file name? So Prometheus, this one. Okay. So that's it. Now you got that particular one has been extracted into this folder, and you go inside the folder, you see the actual content. This is how it is. Okay. Now, sometimes you download a zip file. I mean, you might get a zip file, by the way. Okay. Anyhow, I have one URL here, zip file. I'll simply use that zip content, which is fine. Now you have a zip file. Now, how do I extract this zip file? Now there's an unzip command. Okay. Unzip command, which I'm going and giving the shipping.zip file. Now you get a unzip. I mean, you got the extracted content of a zip file. So this is how we are going to extract the files when you actually get a zip file or tar file. So if it is a tar -x. If it is a zip, unzip command. These are the two commands that you'll be using to extract it. Okay, cool. So that's about something on the extraction part. Any questions?
Usually in Windows, like whenever you download, everything will be under downloads, right?
Mm.
But like here, do you need to go to that particular directory and then use these commands?
Correct.
Okay, so always you go to the destination where you want to have the downloads, then
Yeah.
use commands.
Yeah, you also can give the path also. If you are giving anyhow the custom path, you can, custom file name, you can also provide the path also. You can do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No need to go to the directory, but if you know the path directly, we can use that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyone? Any other questions? I'm not able to hear you. Ade. Okay, moving on. So the next one, the last one, as a part of the fundamental way of learning Linux, by the way, the last concept is a pipe, by the way. So there's a concept, it's not a command kind of a thing. It's a concept. Now you have a requirement of a command output want to send to another command and do its job on that particular one. Then you may use a pipe symbol. That means what first command is actually doing is its output is being sent to as a second command input. It command 1 output will be sent to command 2 output. All right. So that means someone was asking, hey, while you are filtering the student names, by the way, so you're getting a phone number, but if the name is some person and I want to get his phone number, how do I get that? Right? Something like that. I think that file is lost. We refresh the page. So just go with this particular file. So this one. Now this output, I wanted to, so by basically grep for root. Now you got this. Now on these particular lines, I want a first column. So then what I'll do is awk again, -f, colon, and then print $1. Okay. You got the output. So this is how you can, okay, the first command output went to the second command, and the second command output went to the third command. And the third command output, you can send it to the another command, -n1, you get the first line like this. Okay, so this is how this is how the pipe symbol will work. And also at the same time, it's a disclaimer, by the way. So every command won't work with pipe symbol. Okay. So one of the command that which we know is, for an example, one of the command which we know is like, let's say rm command. So now touch, by the way, now lssample.txt, some other way that, you're giving the file names. Now lssample.txt is giving providing the output of sample.txt. Now this one, I wanted to remove the file. It's a file name only, right? If I give rm-f, I'm expecting the file to be removed, but sample.txt still remains. It's not removing. Okay. That means a disclaimer on the pipe symbol is every command doesn't accept the pipe symbol out. Whatever the input is being provided by the pipe, every command won't understand it. Someone has to write a program in such a way that they understand the pipe concept. Okay. Now, everyone won't be doing that again, because in operating system, there are already a help which is available. Okay, if you are really providing the input through a pipe symbol, so then what you can do here is you can go with pipe symbol, but you don't have a support. Now, from OS, there's a supporting command which will come into picture, which is xargs. Now, you're sending the output to the xargs command. Now, xargs is receiving the output. Try to understand what is it doing. It is doing two things, by the way. Okay, so okay, so it is the one actually taking that particular input, and it is also receiving the input, by the way, this one, and it is actually going to run the rm-f, okay, that file name, whatever it is, right? So it is going to internally run that, and then it does the execution of the job. Okay, so that is how you're going to take the help of xargs when you have the command which doesn't support pipe symbol ls. Now that sample.txt is gone, right? So that's about the pipe symbol. First command output you want to send to the second command, then pipe symbol, and you do that pipe. You can always use that. All right, any questions? Cool. So that comes to the first section of what we wanted to talk about. So let's try to write the commands, whatever we learned so far. We talked about VA editor, and after that we talked about the filter commands. So cat, head, tail, grep, awk. Okay, and the next one is the next one we talked about is the curl command, and tar-x for extract, and unzip command. Okay, so total 17 commands we have learned so far with some options inside that. I think it is manageable only, right? So not too much, it's manageable. So 17 number, you can always remember these things. And most of the time, the command name is always from the context also, right? ls means list of files and things like that. The context is always there as well, right? So that's where no much bother about that. Cool. So the next one, which we are going to talk about here is another scenario. Another thing, which is Linux administration. But if we want to go with the Linux administration, we can't actually go with the killer coda for all the things. We need to go with the we need to go with the next one, which is our own server, by the way. This servers, whatever we been provided by the killer coda, may not be enough for our requirement. Okay, so that's where let's go and try to talk about how do we that's where we want to go and talk about how do we create our own servers inside a cloud. By the way, we don't want to go and create servers in our local desktop because we're going to deal the things with a scale, by the way. Okay, so that means we do require okay, so many machines, by the way. Okay, and those particular machines you can't replicate install in your local system. Okay, it doesn't make sense. And everything learning in one machine is not a real-time way of learning it, right? So for an example here, I mean, after this session I have another batch. Now I'm going to okay require all these particular servers, by the way, so to start presenting something. Now these many machines, you can't run it in your local system. It doesn't make sense. And you can't simulate the AWS in your local system again, right? So it's not going to be a real-time way. So that's where you have to end up going to Amazon, and you end up paying to Amazon, like I mentioned. And yeah, so that's where we'll be paid. So now I ask every one of you to create a AWS account, and I also have an AWS account. Yeah, so this is my basic account, by the way. All right, so yeah, so let's get it started with this particular Amazon. Okay, and here the Amazon URL and all is provided. How do you sign up is provided, and account sign up, how do you do that? The link is also provided. Now the link to the Amazon is also provided. So just open this. I'm open this. So this is the page you are seeing. Now when you go to the Amazon, they offer different services. Okay, they offer infra services, they offer platform services. Okay, they offer software services. Infra services means like you take the infra and you have to spend a lot of time to setting up your software, running your software and things like that. And they provide some softwares even, okay, which is like, they provide some services like directly as a software service. You don't want to do anything, you just consume that, right? Like that. So different services are there. So we'll learn about different services. But to start with, we are going to go with one of the service of their Amazon service, which is called as EC2. On the top, you can search for EC2, and you do a star button here. So then automatically it will come here in the panel here. You see this? I starred and kept it so many already. So maybe let me remove them. Whenever it is needed, I'll add that. Just a minute, I forgot to remove it. And directly remove. So your UI will be like this plain. Now the first service which I'm going to talk about and the widely used service which we use is EC2. So that's where you can start it here. Automatically it will come here also easily. Okay, so that you can click on that. Now Amazon as a vendor, they offer the services across the globe, by the way. Okay, now they have different data centers, by the way. Okay, they have different data centers across the cloud, across the globe. Why do they require those many data centers? Because they want to serve the customers locally because of many reasons. One is geo compliance. That means geographical compliances will be there. Now there's a rule in India that any of the data which belongs to PII data, personal information, personal identity information that belongs to Indian people should not go out of the country. Okay, the same law maybe there in UK, US. Every country will try to protect their country's data, by the way, right? Now here clearly there is a law saying that you shouldn't take any data outside of India. So that means you give the services coming to it, come to India and you provide the services. And that's where even some of the banks global banks exited Indian market as well, especially Citibank, okay, who exited India is because of the compliance. Okay. Now they don't see any potential. I mean, they don't see as so that much extent of the market in here. By the way, like serving everything from here. So that's where they just moved on, and so things like that. Okay. So that's where they need to provide the services in geographical locations, by the way. Okay. Because of geo compliance. Geographical compliance, they need to do that. So that is one of the reason that they would come up with different locations, by the way. Okay. Now, ideally talking about, so we'll be choosing the location according to the our business requirement, by the way. Okay. We'll choose the things according to our business requirement. But however, okay, so for this particular training, and I'm going to choose one thing which is called as North Virginia. Okay. So one of the region even I had to choose. Now add AWS supports all these particular regions. Right side up, you will see all these different regions. Now I'll be choosing North Virginia, and every one of you also choosing North Virginia, because here we are going to choose, here we are going to have here we are going to have different. Okay, so here here, I mean, not different, by the way. So here I'm actually providing something for your practice. Okay, for the lab practice, I'm giving something over here. So that's where we'll be choosing the North Virginia region. Other regions I'm not providing. So that's where you have to choose one region. Let's go with the North Virginia. It's as simple as that. And so we are going to go with the North Virginia region. Okay, so the only reason is simple. My my lab is there, and why I choose North Virginia, because there's no reason, by the way. This is first region of Amazon. Very simple. And usually when you compare, there may be a 0.1% of lesser cost when you compare with other regions in North Virginia. Maybe it is a 0.1% or 0.5%, slight reduce in the cost. But for the cost perspective, I did not went there. I had to choose one region. I just choose North Virginia, because there's one other perspective, by the way. When I started, maybe a couple of years back, it is actually, when we actually go with other regions, especially like while I stay in India, like I choose an Indian region. There's a Mumbai region, by the way. So we used to struggle with getting the hardware, by the way. So we used to sometimes say that, so this instance is not available, that instance is not available. This again, like, so 3 years back and things like that. So that's not really working it out. So that's where we stick with one region, because North Virginia, we never face any availability issue, especially with the hardware perspective. Now, all of a sudden we'll scale it up to bigger number, by the way, the things will start working. Okay. So we go to an extent of making, so 35 to 40 instances at a time. Okay. So all of a sudden I want to scale it up. Then, so the regions should support that. Anyhow, it's a small number, but still I have faced some scenarios. So that's where I decided, okay, let's not go with other regions. Let's stick with North Virginia and been doing that. Okay. So that's how it became. So, and also like any service, whichever is introduced, by the way, North Virginia mostly will be part of that. Okay. Other regions, the services slowly will come. That's how, okay, we'll be, that's how we'll be going with North Virginia. My lab is available here. Okay. Now all I need to do is we need to create some server here. Now, how do I create that server? Okay. So here, if I go to once I open the Amazon Web Console, you just open this, you enter your email password, and after that, it will take you to this particular web page. After going here, okay, after going here, what we need to do here, we need to create a server, by the way, right? So the server creation can be done by, yeah. So here, the server creation, EC2 dashboard. So here is what you will be seeing it. So once you click on EC2, this is what you see. And on the left side, you can go to the list of instances, and there are no instances here, right? There are no instances over here. Now I want to launch an instance. So on the right side top, you'll find a launch instance button. Okay, let me add the document. I'll add the document here only for your reference. I have this, but this time we're actually going with the CentOS 9, and that's where I don't have CentOS 9. And I will just try to create a new, add file. Okay, so I would say like, so use this URL or open this URL and then open this particular URL and then and click on this launch instance. I'll quickly. Okay. Launch this instance. After that, launch instance. So under this application and usages, okay, under this section, okay, over here, you type for DevOps-practice. Okay, DevOps-practice. You search for this keyword. Okay, search. All right, basically like type DevOps-practice and enter. Okay, so that's the second thing you have to do. And I hit it, enter, and you will get this one. And you will see this one. And next one is what you have to do is you click on this community MI. Okay, choose this community MI. And after the community MI, so once you choose the community MI, so then what you do is you'll see this. After clicking on community MIs, okay, then you will see the RHEL 9. Actually, I wanted to go with the CentOS 9 only, but I felt like, so let's go with the Red Hat only. So there is an thing available. So I'll go with the Red Hat only directly. So I felt like we'll go with that. So anything is fine, but always the question is why CentOS? Like I was mentioning yesterday, CentOS is CentOS now is a pre-version of Red Hat. Now, why to get that? I know, so underconfidence and all. So let's go and learn Red Hat only directly there. What is that? Okay, so Red Hat. So that is the one you choose it. So select it. Okay, and that's it. You click on launch instance. After choosing this, you will find out the launch instance option. You just choose launch instance. That's it. Launch instance. Okay, and then after launching instance, you click on launch instance. Now it will ask you for this option. You just simply choose, okay, so simply choose proceed without a key pair. Okay, so choose this one. You don't need that. You don't need this. And just proceed without a key pair. Okay, and then launch instance once again. Then launch instance. That's it. And you'll be able to log into this particular server. They provide one server. So slowly it come to running state and you will be able to do that. And however, now I need to connect to this particular server. So I require a software for this, which I'm going to use here is a software called as Putty. Okay. So it's up to you which one. I mean, there are variety of clients are available. So Putty, and as well as there is also one more called as Kitty, Kitty. So this is also another Yeah, here. So there is a Kitty, a free telnet as such client for Windows. This is the one. This software is also both are same only. I think the library is same. Either you can use Putty or KTTY. Anything is fine. So Kitty is a 4 from Putty only again, but it is a little bit better in some ways. Okay, but I think widely used one is Putty. You simply stick to that guy. Okay, PUTTY. And alternatively, you have many clients out there, so you can use any of the guy. Now download Putty, click on download. Now there's a package which you can download and install it. Or if you don't want a package, you just want a Putty software, that's it. You can just simply choose this and download this. I think most of you RC is x86 hardware. You go with that. And now open that. And what you're going to do is we are going to get a IP address. You click on the server and the down, you're going to get one public IP address. So copy that and go to the Putty and you paste that. Didn't copy it. Or it's not pasting here. Okay, it's not coming here. I mean, mine is a different thing altogether. So I'll type it 54.87 4.87 and then 144.164. So there are this is an IP address and this is called as a public IP address. What is public IP? What is private IP? And those particular things, we'll talk about these things later. I'm not sure this guy is allowing Putty connection to the outside world. Or maybe this guy is not allowing. Okay. From here to connect. All right. But otherwise, I will give you maybe I'll upload a video here, so from the Windows machine, how it look like and all, how to connect to the Windows. Now here, let me just try it from, maybe I can also use this killer code itself to connect to that. Okay. Now, if you are a Mac OS, by the way, so you'll be having a terminal like this, inbuilt terminal, you can use that. And if you are using a inbuilt terminal, so what you are going to do is SSH, your username, that username is EC2-user is the username they are providing. What is this username and all? I'll talk about again tomorrow, by the way. I'll start with this thing tomorrow. Today, I think time is not there. So I'll just start with this discussion again. But I'm not getting it. Is there anything that I'm missing? I'm not getting it. Because Red Hat 9 is not able to come in T2 Micro. Because this may be a latest version. It is still not booting. So I'll do one small thing. I'll try one more server, launch instance, simple, DevOps-practice. Okay. And I go with this RHEL9, select it. And here, this is a little bit old hardware, by the way, very old hardware. So I will just choose a T3.micro. Both are same only cost-wise. So T3.micro and launch instance. They'll ask you for a key pair. I don't want it. Proceed without a key pair and launch instance. That's it. So this should work. It is coming. So maybe it asks for yes or no. You just need to type yes. Okay. For Mac OS guys, I'm especially telling. Windows guys, it will give you a pop-up saying press accept. You do that, and after that, ask for the password. It is DevOps321. You give that, you enter. All right. The username is EC2-user, and the password is capitals, case sensitive, DevOps321. Okay. And this is the way how do you create a server and connect to the server. This is the one. And so this is how you create a server. You click on this, it will take you to the documentation. You just follow this particular. Okay. But the one small thing is use T3 micros also you try to choose. Okay. I think T2 is very old hardware. It's almost been 7 years, 8 years hardware. Okay. I think that may not be supporting the capacity required by Red Hat 9, by the way. Okay. We are going with that. And why that username and password is same and why the things like that and all. So we'll talk about that. Okay. So tomorrow I'll start the same topic again. I'll show you how to connect to the server and all. Otherwise, give it a try. Otherwise, I'll provide a video of how to use Putty software as well. So please go through that, and we'll start with Amazon Web Services in tomorrow. Okay. All right. That's all from my side for today. And once you're done with your work, by the way, always go and try to terminate these machines. We don't want these machines. And whenever I ask you to stop the machines, at that time only you stop those particular machines. Otherwise, you always terminate the machines. You don't bother about keeping them until we really need it until one day. Always you done with the practice, terminate the machine so that you'll not get any billing, by the way. Okay. So yeah, that's all from my side for today. Any questions, please go ahead. Not able to hear you, Ramya.
Yeah, I remember using Patijan long back, so maybe that was the reason it wasn't letting us log in.
No.
Okay.
Regarding that registration of AWS video, they mentioned about free trial. So should we go with the free trial or should
Free
we go
only.
with the paid?
No, that's
Free
Amazon planning.
Oh yeah, planning. Yeah.
If you read it, actually you'll understand that you want an Amazon to support you. Okay. It's free only. You don't need support.
Okay.
I'm not able to hear you, Santosh.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Just a simple question. Just how are you taking the pictures and attaching it? How you're making your description with
It's
the
a
pictures?
screenshot softwares.
Okay, you downloaded that, sir?
If you are using Mac, are you using Mac OS?
Windows 10.
Windows, then you'll find out Windows screenshot softwares. Yeah, you have to install. These are third party.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I'm not able to hear you, Santoshi. Anyone? Any other questions? And also, by the way, so I think I seen a couple of people only has joined the yesterday lab query session. Now, if you have any questions, by the way, please feel free to join this session at the timings which is mentioned here. And if you have any questions, or if you don't have questions, if you still want to hang over, please, it's up to you. But it will be boring only. No one will be there most of the time. So if there is any questions, occasionally people will come and go, right? So yeah, it's up to you. And you want to pair all the time while you practice also. Maybe this week you don't really need to spend that much time because it's all basic things only. But from next week and by end of this week also, you'll start getting a bit more things, and that's where you need to. You need to spend more time. That time you can just be there, and if you have any questions, you can just raise to the person sitting there, or else I'll also be there. Okay. Yeah. You need to unmute and talk, Ade.
So this lab query session, will that be available on Saturdays and Sundays also?
Yeah.
Or? Okay,
It's all
because
7 days.
because I might be doing all my practice most of the time during the weekend, because like 1 to 9 it's like a shift for me. So that's
no problem.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. And if you need some, like let's say you are working on the second shift and that time is not flexible for you, so maybe sometimes if you want on the morning time also, just let us know in advance, by the way. So we'll just have it opened before that time also, but let us know in advance. That's it. Maybe
Yeah, in case like if I require like maybe during the morning session, I will let you know.
Yeah.
So probably we can look at that. Yeah.
Hello, Raghu.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm able to.
Oh, good. So can you show us on how to use VS Code also? I mean, if you want to use VS Code or Putty or Kitty, can you show us, please?
VS Code, give a try on it. Okay, so give a try from internet. If you're not able to do it, join the lab session. We'll try to directly do it on your system only.
All right.
Okay. So find a time and join there. We'll directly do it on your system.
What time is it again, please?
It is actually in the morning times. Maybe for you it is, if you are in Eastern time zone, it is 2:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. At least, like let's say 6 a.m. you wake up, maybe 6 to 7:30 a.m. something like that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Vinay.
Yeah, I did not hear about the, it was little bit disturbance about the Saturday and Sunday, how the classes would be, like what would be the timings once again. Sorry for that.
Now we're talking about the lab query session. So apart from this session, there's also another session that runs. If you have any questions, by the way, someone was asking about that, whether it is Saturday and Sunday, will it be there?
Okay. So usually are there classes on Saturday and Sunday?
In which time zone you are in?
I'm in CST.
CST. So that means it is for you, it is Sunday to Friday.
Yeah. So are there classes I'm asking on?
That's what I'm telling.
Weekends.
Classes for you is Sunday to Friday. Sunday for you is a session.
Okay. Sunday to Friday. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Saturday is off for you.
Okay.
All right. All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone. And see you in tomorrow's session. If you have any questions, please utilize the lab query session. And if you have any questions, or have any issues with the lab and all, so please, we'll see you there. Right?
Yeah, Raghu, quickly.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned for Eastern time, like me, is it from Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday?
No, for you, it is going to be Sunday to Friday. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time is the live session. Okay. Whereas the lab session for you is morning 6, you consider 6, you wake up kind of a thing. It will run before to that. It's a 2:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. The lab session will be open.
Okay, but the class is Sunday to
Classes,
Friday.
yeah,
Okay.
Sunday to Friday.
All right.
You need to unmute and talk, Hemalata.
Sir, we have to create that instances. We have to practice in AWS only.
Right.
All these Linux commands also, basic commands.
Yeah. Now you are creating the machines. So the same commands, whatever you learned so far, no more killer coda. You can go with the direct Linux machine only.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone. See you in tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good.